Week 8 college football breakdown here. A really interesting night game in the SEC. Should be a close battle. Texas A&M traveling to Williams-Brice Stadium, taking on South Carolina. A&M's actually a 3-point road favorite in this spot and a pretty low total at 45. Right off the bat, this seems exactly right to me. I would make A&M a 3-point road favorite, and I think a total in the mid-40s is more than fair. My original lean was towards the under, but I don't know if either defense has shown enough to where I think they're necessarily just blood bank under teams. South Carolina is clearly not great defensively, and I know they looked fine against Kentucky the last time we saw them, but if Will Levis played in that game, we wouldn't have seen that same result. Fortunately for them, though, you're getting a pretty favorable matchup here. A&M without Max Johnson is obviously back to Haynes King at the starting quarterback position. Had a pretty gutsy performance against Alabama, but there's a difference between gutsy and good. He's not a good player. He's under 7 yards per attempt this year, under 60% completion. South Carolina, no way, shape, or form, especially with their strength defensively being their secondary. This is certainly not a matchup where they're going to blink. The issue is I actually think A&M could have some success in the run game here. Devon Achane has slowly started to get going a little bit, and we're not going to see it as much against Alabama with that front seven they have. But prior to that, they were starting to get Devon Achane a lot more involved in the run game. I haven't seen enough from South Carolina's run defense to where I think they're going to be able to take him out of the game. If they can't take him out of the game, they're probably going to win the game. On the other side of things, Spencer Rattler hasn't, played up to his 5-star billing so far at South Carolina. I still think he's been better than given credit for. I still think he's a better player than people think he is. And with a guy like Spencer Rattler, there's always a chance that you're going to see glimpses of why he was a 5-star, why he was a can't miss prospect. One thing that you also got to account for, playing now at South Carolina, who's still early into it's a pretty big rebuild with Shane Beamer, is that they don't have a ton of receiver talent. It's not like he's got the guys he had last year, these past 2 years at Oklahoma. So you have to account for that when looking at, Spencer Rattler's stats. I'm interested to see, can South Carolina run the football in this game? They've run the ball a little bit better in SEC play than I thought they would. And, if that does carry over into this game, you can run the ball on Texas A&M. That's the area of their defense that has really kind of underperformed this year. With that said, I do think A&M can win up front against South Carolina's offensive line. And I do think with what they have in their back end defensively, they're going to be able to, in my opinion, consistently limit explosive plays from Rattler. So really, this game's going to come down to who runs the ball better. You can guarantee that. Come back after this game is played. Whichever team establishes the run is going to win this game, because I do think both defenses are going to have pretty good answers for each of these quarterbacks. I would still lean towards the under, and given how I think this game is going to be played out, which is heavy ground attacks from both sides, I would certainly lend itself towards that. Once again, I just don't feel good enough about either defense this total is pretty well adjusted. 45 is a pretty low total in college football, and usually you see it with good defensive play on each side. We haven't seen that enough from either side to where I just think it's a automatic lock, blood bank, under 45 is a play. I think there's enough, counterpoints to where I am going to lay off the under 45. If I had to play a side, I'm not going to answer that. I really don't have a great feel on the side in this game. I do think A&M -3 is the right line. I do think they find a way to win this game, but this is a really tough matchup. Don't underestimate how hard it is to play at South Carolina at night. And with the amount of issues that A&M still has, I wouldn't be running to the window to bet A&M in this spot. Ultimately, it's under or pass. Once again, whichever team is able to establish the run game is going to win this football game. All right, guys, before we get out of here, I know you see this shirt right here. If you're in need of unique but comfortable golf apparel, head over to proud90.com. They got polos with the colder weather coming, hoodies and quarter zips. Recently added a ladies line. Proud 90's got all your golf apparel needs. Browse their selection, and if you see anything you like at checkout, use code Fordham. It's going to get you 15% off your entire order. That's code Fordham is going to get you 15% off your order at proud90.com. Support me, support Proud 90, proud90.com.